Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars Dad, Nooch Too Good, and you know, Capital Games is not very likely, and generally speaking, does not do a lot of reworks in the game anymore. Earlier this year, in 2025, we had Grand Moff Tarkin, and he got actually a pretty solid big rework for the Dark Side clones, and a small rework on Isla Secura. Actually, she had a pretty decent rework for Mace Windu, but it hasn't really made that big of an impact. We had we've had other small reworks, one ability adjusted here or there, and then we just don't get them very often in Galaxy Heroes anymore. They're more likely to release datacrons for specific characters that end up not lifting them and not really doing much for those characters. We're more likely to get like one character that lifts a whole team, and then this other character that needed a rework as part of that team, or maybe multiple characters, you know, that produce a new team in the faction that character is in. There's a lot of things we are more likely to get than reworks in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes these days. But with all that said, we're going to talk about 20 characters that need reworks in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, starting right here with your boy, BB-8. BB-8, and I think also another name for this video might be 20-ish characters that used to be awesome in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes and really aren't very good anymore, or yeah, something like that. Anyway, BB-8 used to be really, really good. I mean, used to be a really, really good character in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes out there with Jedi training Rey and other resistance teams. It's his secret intel. He just constantly rolls and rolls and rolls for secret intel. BB-8 and a random ally who doesn't have it gain the secret intel unique buff for 3 turns, and BB-8 gains 8% turn meter for each ally with secret intel. Well, picture that as he's handing it out, he's just getting more and more turns and more turn meter, right? And BB-8, if they're all droids, who cares about that? Secret intel is plus 25% potency, whatever, and when another ally uses a special ability, they gain secret intel for 3 turns. Then the cooldown of Illuminated Destiny is reduced by 1 for each ally with secret intel, and Illuminated Destiny is dispel all debuffs on all allies and expose all enemies for 2 turns. That's pretty nice. All allies gain 80% turn meter and gain advantage, critical chance up, critical damage up, offense up, speed up for 4 turns. Droid and resistance allies recover 20% protection. This ability starts on cooldown and cannot be evaded. I don't know how it would be evaded. I guess that's weird. The other team doesn't get anything. No, that's weird. Whenever a droid ally scores a critical hit, reduces the cooldown of this ability by 1. Look, this was a great ability. Part of the challenge of this is, where's the cooldown? The cooldown is 70, so it's a lot of cooldown. Now, you note that you're reducing the cooldowns here all the time. You know, when other people use it, you know, we're reducing it whenever anybody uses a special ability with Illuminated Destiny. So you get there faster, but it still took like 4 or 5 rounds of BB-8 getting a turn till he could get off Illuminated Destiny, and battles don't tend to last that long in the game anymore. Not to mention that there's a lot of characters that will give lots of buffs and recover turn meter and get or recover protection and health, or get turn meter without having to go through all the rigmarole that BB-8 has to go through. Man, reduce the cooldowns here. Let's do something with BB-8 to make it work better, and we can use him on all sorts of teams, because this is not limited to resistance. This is for everybody. Make BB-8 great again. Our next rework, and this is a character, Darth Vader, that's been reworked, I think already a couple of times in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Darth Vader for years sat on the shelf as a useless character, like an absolutely useless character in this game. Nobody used him. He had no calling. He didn't do anything. Then he got the big Merciless Massacre rework and the dots on his leadership rework, and all of a sudden he became extremely useful in a lot of different scenarios for a long time. Then we got the nerf of 2020, and since then he's been less valuable. Right now, the main functions for Darth Vader are taking out Geos early in the game with like a Palpatine lead invader. People do try it with a Vader solo. That's just not, doesn't work all the time. Anyway, and then putting him onto a Dr. Aphra team is another use that's kind of limited and doesn't work all the time. And then also putting him onto a Traya team is where people that are like mid-game, you find a lot of value with Darth Vader there. You just got to get him in the right situation though, because he has a lot of damage into that Traya lead. With all that said, there are a lot of limitations, even with Merciless Massacre, which is one of the coolest abilities in the game, where he gains Merciless, takes a bonus turn, and just starts, he gets to attack everybody on the field and gets bonus even more turns if Palpatine's out there. It's a really cool ability. His Force Crush, I mean, all of his abilities are really cool. The problem is he just doesn't have a lot of utility in the game. And we even saw here through this last round of Datacrons, he got his own leadership Datacron with Imperial Troopers, and nobody used it for Darth Vader because it sucked. So can we find a way to bring Darth? I mean, when we first got Merciless Massacre, I'm telling you guys, it was an absolute like 180 for Darth Vader in this game. And it's a shame that he's kind of been relegated to the bench again and just doesn't get a lot of use in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Kylo Ren, another character. Make Kylo Ren great again. This guy, one of the earliest dominant Zetas in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. You're talking like 2018 or whatever, but I mean, just probably more like 2016, 2017. His Zeta would do plus damage and recovered protection equal to the damage dealt. What it meant was he was constantly recovering protection, and I think that he's giving himself 25% turn meter, but there's something that resets this, right? And has a 50% chance to reset. Whenever Kylo takes damage, he gains 50% defense stacking and 15% offense stacking for 1 turn, and has a 50% chance to reset his cooldown. So he's always resetting this and continues to use it and gains all his protection back. And this was, I mean, when this came out, it dominated the game for a brief period of time, but he still had a lot of utility in the game for a long period of time. But these days, we really don't see Kylo Ren get used that much. And again, there's another data disc or Datacron that's out for him right now, or maybe it was previously out. I don't know, but nobody's really using it. It doesn't really apply to Kylo Ren that much. It doesn't really make him that much better. I'd love to see OG Kylo Ren here get some kind of rework where he is actually usable in the game and where we can have a lot of fun with them. And again, guys, by rework, I mean, we could see like a First Order lifter comes out that all of a sudden brings Kylo Ren up. Snoke. Anyway, we'll see what happens. I'd love to see Kylo Ren. He's got a great kit. By the way, these first 3 characters, they all have great kits. Illuminated Destiny is a great ability. It's a lot of fun. Merciless Massacre is a lot of fun. Kylo Ren's recovery of, you see, I haven't even applied it here because why would I do that when I'm not going to use them? That's a lot of fun. Barriss Offee. I don't know if I'd call her kit a lot of fun, but when she first came out, and when this Zeta first came out on Swift Recovery, whenever an ally is critically hit, that ally recovers 20% health. This was an absolute monster when this first came out. And like I said, I think this video could probably be called 20 characters who used to be really great in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Recovering 20% protection, you put out there like a General Kenobi defense lead for Jedi and Galactic Republic maybe, and then you'd have this out there and they recover 20% health, and you just didn't have any big, huge damage dealers out there to get through their health and protection. You almost couldn't get through these teams, and the battles were super timeouty, but it doesn't really apply anymore. There's just a lot of characters out there that do massive damage in the game, and 20% health just isn't cutting it for us on our teams. I will say, if you apply this Zeta early on in the game, and you're using it in early rounds of Carbonite, maybe Bronzium Grand Arena, and you get the right opponents, this can actually do some good out there. But even like when you put it on a Starkiller team, or you put it in other places, it just doesn't really, that 20% health recovery does not have the impact it once had. There's got to be a number we can increase that to. 30%, 35%, something to make Barriss really useful in the game. Princess Leia, another great kit, a lot of fun. Princess Leia just constantly stealths. Leia gains stealth and critical damage up for 3 turns. If she already had stealth, she also gains offense up and foresight and gains double turn meter. The cooldown is 3, and I think there's there's something here that is maybe not. I guess it's not reducing her cooldowns, but this ability, she's always stealth, so you can't target her. She gains critical damage up, and then she's just launching this hair trigger basic over and over again. Deal physical damage to target enemy with a 70% chance to attack a second time, 55% chance to attack a third time. Each attack has a 50% chance to grant 10% turn meter. I mean, let's remove those qualifiers. Maybe that'll help us. If she's always gaining 20% turn meter and always attacking 3 times every time she does it, I don't know. There's got to be something we can... Okay, cooldown -1 with the Omega, which I haven't applied because why would I apply an Omega to a character I'm never going to use? This kit is a lot of fun. And on you guys, all of you guys out there, or most of you, have played the CLS event and used Princess Leia. Her kit's a lot of fun. There's just nowhere to use it in the game these days. And before we start the rework Grievous tune, you know guys, General Grievous, a lot like Darth Vader when he first came out, was a specialized character and had no use in the game. There was nowhere to use him. He wasn't any good. His kit was awful. And Arnold has an old song. You out there watch it. Rework Grievous. He sang it for 2 years, and they finally reworked Grievous. And he was awesome and fun, and his team is still really good in Territory Wars with the Droideka Omicron, but when you get to Grand Arena and any other game mode at all, he's just not any good. He's pretty much a useless character. You put him out there, Wampa kills him, unless you get the right Datacron in the right situation. People love General Grievous. People love the Separatist droids. Can we find a way to make this team useful in Grand Arena and or other game modes as well? Because right now, he's only... And by the way, another great kit. You know, launching this AoE, putting target lock on everybody, and while they have target lock, they can't counterattack or gain turn meter, right? Let's see here. Is it this one? When a target locked enemy is damaged, each droid in Separatist gains 2% turn meter, double for Grievous. Whatever target is, there's target locked enemies can't counterattack. It's a turn meter train when you get that target lock out there. In Skittering Horror, it's great graphics. He goes up and he's stacking health, and his damage is based on his max health. A great kit, a lot of fun, but it just needs a rework. It needs some oomph. There's just nothing to this thing except in Territory Wars when you get that Droideka Omicron. After that, Old Ben. Old Ben got a nerf years ago, and I don't remember when that was. If You Strike Me Down used to grant like 8 buffs to the team, and then they took it where it's just offense up and speed up. It used to be offense up, speed up, health up, I don't know, critical damage up. I don't even know what it was. It used to be a truckload of stuff for Old Ben, and he used to taunt. I mean, this Devoted Protector, he gains taunt. When it expires, he gains taunt for 1 turn. It just seems like this taunt is too easy to dispel, and he ends up nobody ever has to target him. The way the game's built right now, new teams come out and they can either get around taunt or they can get rid of buffs, and when they get rid of this buff, it's gone. Maybe we need to make this taunt like and you can't dispel it, a non-dispellable taunt, and give me a Datacron that says that. Old Ben's taunt starts at the beginning of the battle. You know, he auto taunts, and his taunt is indispellable for 2 turns. When he loses taunt, he gains just regular. When he loses this indispellable taunt, he gains regular taunt for 1 turn. Something like that. I mean, that would be really nice. Just a lifter. Old Ben, a character we all love. You know, the guy that, you know, my old sage wizard, that my first wizard in my life from the movies. Some of you were maybe Gandalf, your first wizard, maybe Qui-Gon, I don't know. But, you know, this guy, again, it's a fun kit with all the ability blocks. It's not as fun of a kit. It's an okay kit. But can we make him a better tank and then give him some more, you know, go back to all the buffs. I don't know why we get rid of all those buffs on the team. Grand Admiral Thrawn. You know, guys... For years, and I mean like 5 or 6 years. Let's see, the game launched in November 2015, the nerf of 2020, so 5 years. He came out in 2016, whatever, 4 or 5 years, whatever. Grand Admiral Thrawn was the plug-and-play character in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, and this video idea actually started as the best plug-and-play characters in Galaxy Heroes, but then as I'm going through, I'm like, there's only a couple, and it doesn't really apply to the game. Like, there's no plug-and-play. It sucks. Wouldn't you love to have like some plug-and-play characters like Grand Admiral Thrawn? Can we? I mean, he got nerfed in 2020. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something with his fracture. Where they also lost a bunch of... I can't remember what it was, but he got nerfed, and he just doesn't do... He's just not as effective anymore, and when you put him on the field, the AI always targets him, and even if you have a Shore Trooper out there with a taunt that can be dispelled, as we mentioned, a lot of teams now go around taunt or dispel buffs really easily. Grand Admiral Thrawn, again, a great kit. Fracture, it was the only one that had Fracture until Leia Organa... is there Fracture? Hold on, I'm forgetting something here. Maybe it's Hera Syndulla. Anyway, the only Fracture in game for a long time, the turn meter swap. I mean, this guy has a great kit, and he just doesn't have a spot in today's game to really use him. And it's unfortunate because he fit into almost like light side, dark side. It didn't matter. He was on your arena team for 5 years in this game, period. Hands down, no questions asked. On every he could fit on every Darth Revan, he can go on that team. General Kenobi, he can go on that team. I mean, it was crazy. He just showed up all the CLS, he can go on that team. He was awesome. Bring back, man, make Thrawn great again. Jedi Knight Anakin, this guy kind of sucks. Excuse me. You know, with the advent of Queen Amidala overtaking Padme Amidala, Anakin just doesn't really have a spot. I would agree that he has a spot early in the game when you've got a Padme team. I also agree that he's got that spot on that Qui-Gon Omicron team. It just seems like if he... I don't know, maybe I'm missing on this one. Maybe with the Qui-Gon Omicron team, it does make sense and Anakin fits in there. I just feel like there's something missing with him. Like, that's the only place he fits, is on a Qui-Gon Omicron. The Padme team, he's just not all that great anymore, and the Padme team goes away really quickly. I just feel like there's something, and he's got his ship. I don't know. It seems like there's something out there for Jedi Knight Anakin that's not being provided to Jedi Knight Anakin right now that can make him useful outside of that Qui-Gon. You know, why does he have to be on that one team? I'd love to be able to plug, I don't know, maybe I'm missing the boat on this one because that Qui-Gon team is awesome, but and he doesn't suck. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry, Anakin. Don't get upset. You know, children are worried when you get upset. But regardless, Jedi Anakin, I feel like there's something that could be done. There's just something that's not quite there on these days. Maybe it's just me. Count Dooku. At the very beginning of the game, Count Dooku was in a lot of the meta teams at the very beginning of the game. And ever since the very beginning of the game, yeah, he's got one node on Darkside Geonosis territory battles that you need him for with Asajj. I don't think hardly anybody's farming him for that. You'll probably farm him when you go get Sith Eternal Emperor or Lord Vader. And then you just don't have a lot to do with him. Like, he's gotten a rework. His kit is kind of interesting. The constant counterattacks are kind of interesting, but we're back to a point where in the game today, so many characters have tenacity, you know, a tenacity up built into the team, where if he's fighting Jedi, like, he was built to fight Jedi. If you look at it here, isn't there something in here where if he stuns, hold on. Well, chance to shock and stun another random enemy doubled if the target is Galactic Republic. I thought it was Jedi, but Galactic Republic. Almost every Galactic Republic team that I can think of has some layer of tenacity up in their kits. So then, what is Dooku doing? Well, nothing. He's just standing there under a trench lead, maybe in territory wars being good. I hardly ever use him except as just fodder for Darth Bane to gain stats when he dies, or gain bonus term or whatever Bane gets when. So he kind of just becomes fodder for Darth Bane at this point. Not much use for Count Dooku in the game these days. Coming up next is Darth Maul. You know, we got new Maul, we got Cyborg Maul in the game, who's really awesome and everybody loves him. Darth Maul had a great kit. I mean, he still has a great, well, it's not a great kit, but it's a fun kit, right? AoE, and he dazes everybody as his leader. Everybody's getting stealth for, you know, there's lots of stealth passed around. He was a fun Sith leader for a short period of time in the game. You know, we'd love to see Darth Maul be useful in this game. It's really unfortunate that he's not, and he doesn't find his way on the field for anything that I'm aware of. I don't think this guy, other than piloting the scimitar for your Leviathan fleet, I really don't think he has any use in the game in 2025 and beyond. So he was a fun character. Lane of the Days, again, if he's fighting Jedi, they've all got tenacity up, or dispels or whatever, so it's kind of useless. Let's find a way to get Darth Maul and make him a useful character again. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? I guess take anybody to Relic 9 pretty soon. They'll be great. Enfys Nest. This is one of the kits that I absolutely love in the game. Enfys Nest, stacking up damage and a little bit of damage. Nest stacks 2% critical damage and Hellsteel until the end of the encounter whenever an enemy loses a buff or debuff, and her basic removes defensive debuffs, or defensive buffs, including defensive evasion and health. So she's removing buffs with her basic, she's counterattacking all the time. It's a 60% chance, 80% counter chance. She slowly stacks up damage, and then when you get to the 4 minute and 30 second mark, boom, she's got everybody dead. I used to love using Enfys Nest as a solo character, a lot like OG Kylo Ren that we talked about. We're using her as a solo, and they put out datacrons for her recently that made no difference. Enfys Nest just doesn't really have a spot in this game right now in any game mode. I would love to be able to use her. I mean, she's now a pirate, but there's nowhere to put her on the pirate teams. It's really unfortunate. You know, she's got this, she stacks up all this protection. Whenever she's damaged by an attack, she gains critical chance and 40% bonus protection stacking, and then it goes away at the beginning of her turn. So she would be sitting there with like millions of protection. We would also, I don't know why I've got a speed set on her. Why did I do that? We used to... What the heck? Maybe I was trying to use her with the pirates. I don't know why I did that. I need to look for spots for that. Anyway, Enfys Nest, her kit's a lot of fun. There's just nowhere for her to be using these. She just needs a stat boost or something to make her effective in today's game. She's not effective. Rebel Officer Leia Organa. Now, Rolo, as we call her, has never been good. There's never been a time in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes where Rebel Officer Leia Organa was a good character. Pairing her with Captain Han Solo didn't help. Them giving Chupio abilities for if somebody's revived didn't help. Or Chupio's revived or something like that. You know, he just went on the CLS team and we continue to forget about Rolo and Captain Han Solo. Wouldn't it be great if this character that's required for, I mean, she's required to get Jedi Knight Luke, so you got to get her for Jabba. You got to get her for all of the original trilogy. Jabba, Leia Organa, and Jedi Master Luke. He's not a real, you know what I'm saying. I'm just babbling now. But she's required for a lot of farms, specifically Jedi Knight Luke and then Leia Organa, but she does nothing. She has no home in the game. She has no spot. She doesn't have a ship. She's no good. I mean, this Rebel Barrage seems like it's kind of fun. Deal physical damage 10 times to random enemy targets. Enemies struck more than once suffer ability block. I mean, honestly, whenever you get this random, it's just, she's never been any good. She's never had a spot. Let's find a way to make Rolo great in the game. Darth Sion, maybe I'm missing out here. Maybe I've got him modded wrong. I don't know. I hardly ever get turns with him, honestly. I put him out there with Traya. I've got him pretty slow. I could add some speed to him, but even with the speed on there, I'm not sure he'd be getting a lot of teams under that Traya lead, and he just isn't doing what he once was doing in the game. Maybe it's my mods. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's because of the Zeta, which doesn't seem right. It's just inflicting pain on enemies who damage in that turn, which is all right, because if they have pain, they have to target him, and he gains taunt. I get it. He gains taunt is what happens. So I just feel like there's another level of usefulness for Sion. Right now, he's kind of just a guy you throw in with your Traya team to make sure that everybody else is good to go. There's just something quiet kind of missing in the Darth Sion kit, and he could use a little bit more love from Capital Games. L3. I was gonna have a pause there. So anyway, L3. When L3 came out, and L3 has found a lot of uses with this. When she becomes prepared, she gains taunt for one turn. At the start of each encounter, she becomes prepared. So she's an auto taunt at the start of the encounter, and she just taunts the whole time. But it just seems like, because she was on a lot of Rey teams early on as the tank for there, because she would auto taunt, you get stuck on L3, you can't get Rey. But really, she doesn't really have, again, no real spot in the game. She is with Lando's Millennium Falcon, which has some uses on an endurance fleet these days. But L3 is a character, she was kind of a fun little tank and did a lot of, I mean, not like an amazingly fun, but she had a lot of good tanky stuff to her. And it just seems like she's just easily overcome in the game right now, and you don't ever see on a Rey team anymore. So we could do something with L3 to kind of lift her up and let her soar. Let her, calculate the coordinates and go to light speed, so to speak. So anyway, I don't know if I'm really a fan of how they did that, but whatever. Lando loves L3. I'd like to see L3 get a lifter, make her a little more useful in today's game. Director Krennic. Here's a character that when he came out, my buddy Dylar and very few others actually found a way to use him in Squad Arena. When Squad Arena used to matter, they were using Director Krennic with Death Trooper and probably Thrawn, probably GK, who was a plug-and-play tank back in the day. You know, they had a team out there with Krennic, and it was being used. He has nowhere to go, and he's even received datacrons that nobody puts on him. There was a Krennic cron that went on the Queen Amidala team. they can't even when you launch a datacron specifically for a character and that datacron gets used on somebody else's team, something's wrong with that character. That's all I gotta say. Director Krennic has now appeared in Rogue One, and he was the premier baddie in season 2 of Andor. He is a significant and impactful character in Star Wars. Let's make him useful in the game. Make Director Krennic great for the first time, I guess, in Galaxy of Heroes. Cody, by the way, at least these character models leave something to be desired too. These are like 2018 character models. A lot of you guys love Cody. A lot of you guys love the 212. There's just nothing going on here. For a short period of time, well, not a short period, it was for maybe a year, a Cody clone team would, and you guys are seeing it in Conquest now, a Cody clone team would go into the final tier of the HAAT raid and solo that tier, and it was a big deal, and you use Cody there. Outside of that, I don't think there's ever been a place to use Cody in this game. He just doesn't fit. His kit is lacking. He has almost no health protection. The guy goes down like just a house of cards. He just crumbles. He really has no purpose in the game right now. His kit is moderately interesting, calling in assists, an AoE that stuns the primary target. I mean, make it stun everybody or something. I don't know. Cody just needs to be completely reworked. Maybe if they ever come out with a 212 clone team, we'll get a Cody rework so he can be the leader on that team. But yeah, he's just kind of a useless character. I mean, other than getting Jedi Master Call, be useless. How about Veteran Smuggler Han Solo and Veteran Smuggler Chewie? Again, 2 characters that were released when did they come out? I think they came out for the Ray farm. I think we got these guys as marquees, or were they earlier? I think these guys were earlier, actually. I think these guys were earlier. Veteran Smuggler Han and Veteran Smuggler Chewie, I think we're very early in the game, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, because the Ray marquees were Admiral Raddus, not Admiral Raddus, what's her name? Purple-haired, Amelin Holdo, Rose, Resistance Zero Finn, Resistance Zero Poe. Maybe these guys were in there. I don't know, but I don't feel like they were because this is part of Kylo's kit. He's part of Kylo. Anyway, Smuggler Han and Smuggler Chewie have never been any good at anything in the game, at any point of the game, with any datacron, with any character, at any point, for any reason. I would love to see these characters actually be useful. Han and Chewie, Veteran Smuggler Han and Chewie. We just never had it. They need reworks. They need something that lifts them. We need something to make these characters useful in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. Canderous Ordo. A lot of you guys love Canderous Ordo. A lot of you guys love KOTOR. We're missing a lot of KOTOR and Old Republic content in this game, just period. And we all watch Canderous Ordo mow us down in Conquest like he's standing still, like it's not even a thing for him. Canderous Ordo is absolutely a character in this game who could use a rework and maybe lift up that, that Old Republic team that just does nothing right now. There's just nothing. You got I guess you have the Zalbarkron, but still, nobody's even attempting to put that team on defense. Let's get Canderous Ordo working the way he's meant to work. His basic is fun, landing all the dots. There's just something just missing and not there for Canderous that I know a lot of people would like to see on his kit. And I think this is my last one. This is my last one. So last but not least, Stormtrooper Han has had brief periods of time in this game where he is a useful tank on a rebel team. And we'd love to see like a Rolo team with Captain Han Solo, Stormtrooper Han, just something I can't get my Mon Calamari straight. Your boy Akbar, putting all the Stormtrooper Han has had brief periods of glory in the game, followed by extendedly long years worth of nobody ever using him for anything. It would be really nice to see him be useful when he got this Zeta. Whenever Han takes damage, he recovers 5% protection. That's nice. How about whenever he takes damage, he recovers 20% protection? That might be the only way to make this work. Because there's just too much going on in the game right now where 5% protection isn't doing it for anybody, especially on an old character that has low level. Stormtrooper Han needs a rework, and he could be a lot of fun. He was a lot of fun in the movies. Stormtrooper Han and Luke, man, maybe we'll get something like this when we get to 2027 for the 50th anniversary of New Hope. We want to look at getting a Stormtrooper Luke. We want to maybe get a look at maybe we'll get Princess Leia reworked then too. We may look at Cell Block Chewie, handcuff Chewie, and then we also get Red 5. Maybe we'll get like some stuff for the 50th anniversary of A New Hope, but Stormtrooper Han is just old and defunct and useless in the game. And there you go. That is 20 characters in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes that need a rework or need some kind of team that works around them. Just need something because they're just not being used or utilized to the maybe any potential or very limited potential in the game right now. Everybody, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd like to hear from you who you want to see reworked. Have a good day. I will talk to you very soon. And of course, always remember, Nuke's too good.